Hello students, welcome to CrackGradeB online learning platform. Today we have special guest with us, Ms. Pragya. She has cracked RBI Grade B 2022 exam. So she will share her journey, that how she worked to crack this exam. How she has prepared, what were the sources she followed, what was her strategy to clear this exam. So Ms. Pragya, students want to know your strategy.
Yeah, so firstly I would like to introduce myself. I'm Pragya and I did my graduation from Delhi University, and this is my very first attempt of RBI, and I'm very fortunate to be cracking this exam in the maiden attempt.
Okay, so we will start from the phase 1.
Yes, sir.
As phase 1, you also seen that paper is becoming tougher
Yes,
every year. Since last 2 years specifically, we have seen the cutoff is
Yes,
less than 70. So how did you manage the quant reasoning specifically?
Yes,
and also
sir.
GA section is getting harder every year.
Yes, sir.
So how did you manage these
Sir,
sections? What were the sources?
Yes, sir. Sir, I mainly focused on GA as well as English, on which I have a very decent command, and reasoning too I have a decent command, but for quants I was not very sure. So then I watched some conceptual videos on YouTube, for example from Adda and other sources, to get that conceptual clarity, and after that I just practiced mocks for reasoning as well as maths. And other than that, for English I just practiced mocks and I did not as such prepare for it. And other than GA, of course, for GA I followed Affairs Cloud, and then compilations from PIB and from other sources, and CGB compilation, of course, and yeah, more or less. And then compilation of RBI circulars which were provided by your platform, I referred to those for GA.
And any mock test specifically for this?
I gave mini mocks, not complete full length mocks. I gave mini mocks for phase 1, and especially after the notification was released, I devoted complete 1 month for the preparation of phase 1.
Okay.
Yes,
so when did you start your actual preparation?
Sir, I think it was around March, and I was preparing for phase 1 as well as phase 2 simultaneously. So I think for phase 2 I completed around 30-40% of the syllabus before the notification came out. And for example, I prioritized the topics. For example, in management especially, like there are theories on motivation and leadership that I completed before the examination. I gave at least 1 to 2 readings of it, and after the phase 1 result came out, actually after giving the phase 1 I focused on revising. So I actually left certain topics, for example ethics and all those topics, because I did not have a very good hold on those topics, and I did not want to waste my time attempting those topics.
So any other exam you targeted before the RBI?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually I gave IBPSPO and SBIPO last year just to get an idea of how the examination works and to get that fear of examination out of me, because I did not practice a lot of mocks. So because I think when you get into the real scenario, when the examination takes place, that takes the fear out of you. So yeah, just SBIPO and IBPSPO I gave examinations last year.
Okay, so how many months current affair you prepared for the phase 1 specifically?
Sir, I mainly focused on for last 3 to 4 months of current affairs, and I kept on revising those current affairs again and again, and I just stick to one source, because referring to too many sources it creates chaos, so I don't think that's feasible. So I just stick to one course which was a source, which was Affairs Cloud, of course, and then compilations on weekly and monthly basis.
Okay. So how much gap you have between your graduation and this exam?
Yes, sir. So I completed my graduation in the pandemic itself. So I completed it in the later half of 2020. So I think it was 1.5 year gap.
Okay. Then second thing is that whenever any candidate is going to appear first time in this exam,
Yes,
RBI Grade B phase 1
Yes,
specifically, there is always a fear in the mind
Yes,
that
sir.
what will happen today, whether I will be able to complete all the section, whether I will be able to attempt, means I will be able to clear the cutoff or not,
Yes,
how I will be able to attempt the reasoning questions, because paper level is tougher side.
Yes, sir.
So what was your experience in the exam, and how did you tackle that fear and the pressure specifically?
Sir, for example, for reasoning, I mainly focused on questions which were like a bonus questions, questions from these I did not focus much on puzzles because that would take a lot of time. So my main focus for reasoning as well as quants was to clear the cutoff. For example, like in my quants also, I just cleared the cutoff. I got just 4.5. That's how I cleared phase 1. So I did not really devote too much time practicing difficult questions. I mainly focused on gaining the speed, and for quants also I'm only focused on DI, which is easier, and if you get what the question is asking, you can easily get score, like you can easily solve 5-6 questions in a go.
Yes,
So, yes,
we
sir.
are analyzing paper since 2016.
Yes, sir. And it's getting difficult.
Yes, it is getting difficult, but one DI question is always
Yes,
doable.
sir, of course.
If 2,
And
3
that
DI,
would be
they are-
enough. One or
yes.
two DI questions would be enough to clear the cutoff.
Yes, yes. And the question selection is playing a role in your selection,
Yes, sir.
specifically in phase 1
Yes, sir.
in last 2 years.
Sir,
And reasoning also, many students started puzzles. Then
so this mistake I made in IBPSPO and SBIPO, I just stuck to one question and I kept on solving it, and that's why it didn't fetch me a positive result. So I made up my mind that I do not have to repeat the same mistake in the examination. So that helped me in a way.
Now come to the phase 2 part.
Yes, sir.
Then what was the main source of preparation? As
Yes, sir.
we generally as a student we see that there are number of the platform available.
Yes, sir.
And there is number of myths available in the social media, various platforms like Telegram. How did you filter that you should follow this source, and how did you prepare from this?
Sir, initially I started with planning and strategizing. So I watched multiple YouTube videos. For example, last year's topper Pallavi Jan's video I watched. So she mentioned your source. So then I Googled it and I got to know positive reviews. So then I started preparing from your platform. And I think the material is not too bulky and it is very doable. So that's the plus that I found, and I started preparing with it. And I think one thing which is very important, that you do not have to cover everything which is there under the sun. You have to just prioritize and then stick to one source and keep on revising again and again. So that's one thing which is very, very important. Otherwise that creates a problem if you try and do everything, because as a candidate there's always this fear that ye na chhut jaye, wo na chhut jaye, वैसा वाला रहता है. So I think that's not desirable and you should just stick to one source.
Also, there are number of myths that one should study from the government scheme, from ministry website. They should follow PIB themselves. They should regularly follow RBI website. Did you do these things?
No, sir. I mainly focused on compilations which were provided by your platform, because I think they were very crisp and concrete in their way. So I did not have to like rush to every other website to look for the content. Everything was there in one place, so it was easier for me to revise as well.
So how many months current affairs specifically you prepared for this phase 2?
So for phase 2, sir, I would say 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And what was your strategy specifically for the descriptive part, as
Yes,
major
sir.
contribution in selection also?
Yes, sir,
200
of course
marks
it
are
does.
allocated to descriptive part.
Sir, so mainly for descriptive, I just practiced, not many, I just practiced 2 to 5 questions, and just to know what structure would I follow in the actual examination, so I just practiced those questions. And also you provided a list of certain questions, and I think questions were there from, in the actual examination there were questions from that list. So I just focused on that, and I had a pretty good hold on typing, and even like in my graduation I used to write descriptive answers, so I had a good command over that. So I just practiced 2 to 5 questions and I was good to go, I think.
Okay.
And I think for descriptive, the major point is that you do not have to commit any kind of grammatical errors, and you just have to just try to make pointers. If you read the question, try to make at least 6-7 pointers, and then prioritize that which answer would fetch you more marks, and then proceed on writing with that answer.
Okay. One more thing, that 600 words are there in
Yes, sir.
15 marker question.
Yes,
So were you able to complete the limit, target of the word limit?
Yeah, sir, it was within the limit. Around, for example, if there was a 600 marker question, 600 word question, I wrote around 450-500 words, and again for 400, around 350 words or 300 words.
Okay.
So,
Also, as in phase 1 and phase 2,
yes, sir.
time is very less between
Yes,
time gap is very less,
Yes, sir.
within 20-30
Yeah,
days.
20 days.
Yes, and after result it is only 15 days you have.
Yes, sir.
So there is a lot of material
Yes, sir.
you have to study. So how did you filter out that you should focus on these topics?
Sir, I'm mainly focused on revising what I had already done before the and then and then if there were like any new amendments made in the schemes or any new reports launched, then I'm mainly focused on those. But mainly my focus was on revision, because I did not want to miss out on the part that, for example, if I know certain thing and if does not अगर आती नहीं है दिमाग में उस टाइम पे, so then that creates a problem. So I'm mainly focused on revising rather than taking up new things and then collecting data. So
any specific strategy you followed for specifically English descriptive part?
Sir, I used to read editorials, so that gave me a good command for English descriptive, and it also gave me a reading speed, and then which also helped in reading comprehension and essay writing. So yeah, mostly editorials I read.
So in newspaper specifically you referred?
Yeah, I used to read editorials from Live Mint and The Hindu.
Okay. Then now comes to the interview part.
Yes, sir.
That is also playing a major role in your selection.
Yes, sir. And definitely in my selection it did play a major role.
Yes, 75 marks are low. Yes.
So I got 68 out of 75 in my interview, and like I was just above the cutoff in my phase 2. So because of the interview only, I think I got selected. So that definitely played a major role. And after this phase 2 result, I had ample time. My interview was in September. So I had like 2-3 months to prepare for my interview. So then I started with reading newspaper just to keep myself updated with what's happening around the country, around the world. So that's one thing that I did. Then around the same time before my interview, because of some personal reasons, I had to go to Mumbai. So after going there, I think one very important thing that people miss out is that information is one thing, but how to communicate that information is another big thing, which is being tested in an interview. So then I tried to indulge myself in conversations with people around me when I went there. Like one of my relatives, she's also working in a she's also working in a banking sector. So I used to discuss things with her, and that gave me a kind of confidence, because I knew that I had the fluency, I had my points, but then the confidence, I think it really, the mocks and the discussions that I held around with people, that really helped me with the interview part. And then I made certain basic notes, very crisp notes of basic banking terminologies and other things.
Okay. So at the end, we would like to know that during your preparation you may have made some mistakes, or any strategy you missed that you were not able to implement. Any suggestion for the future aspirants that you will advise them?
Okay, sir, I think for me, taking breaks, I don't know if it will work for everyone. I think everyone should strategize and make their strategies as per their own convenience. But for me, taking breaks really helped me. Like sitting for long hours, studying 4-5 hours, it did not help me at all. I was losing out on productivity and efficiency. So I just took a lot of breaks in between. I went out, met my friends. It kind of increased my efficiency in a way. And other than that, I think the exam, when you write phase 2, it's a very lengthy examination. So then you need to have that kind of patience and perseverance inside of you, so that you can write and complete those examinations. I would say that do not leave any question undone. Just try to, even if you do not have enough content for a particular answer, try to write whatever you know about it. Just do not leave it. So that's one thing. And I think I was applying the trial and error method, and it worked great for me. So
also in the social media and Telegram, we see that students used to collect that material, and in many of them are influenced also by this Telegram channel. They start collecting the material. Sir,
I think it kills a lot of time when you go on multiple sources and then try to collect material from everywhere. That is not really needed. For the interview, it did help me, because I made certain good friends from Telegram, and we used to hold discussion on calls around certain topics, and then we used to post our queries and doubts from each other. So that really helped me, and many of them got selected as well. So it helped all of us, I guess.
Okay. And the last thing, what was your interview experience with the RBI board actually?
So the board was very cordial. They were, I think each of the board members, they asked me 2 to 3 questions, and most of the questions were mostly counter questions. So I think I handled the questions pretty well. The one thing that I did not really have time at that time to prepare my graduation subjects at that time. So I did commit a mistake there, which I shouldn't have. But other than that, the board was very cordial, and if I didn't know any answer, I just simply said, "Sir, I don't know," and that worked for me.
Okay. So thank you very much for
Thank
this
you.
wonderful session.
Thank you for having me, sir.
And it will definitely benefit
Yes,
the
sir.
students, and wish you good luck for
Thank
your
you so
future
much,
journey.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.